the greatest mystery of ancient Egypt. In 2017, scientists fired cosmic rays at the largest structure ever built by human hands, the Great Pyramid of Giza. They found something that shouldn't exist, a hidden chamber. Massive, 30 meters long. No entrance, no exit, no passageway. No one has ever set foot inside it. And the craziest part, that's not even the strangest thing the ancient Egyptians left behind. There's a queen who vanished from history, a king who died at 19 with a fractured skull, a labyrinth the size of a cathedral buried under the sand, and a monument that might be thousands of years older than anyone thought possible. Today we're going deep into the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt, and I promise you, by the end of this video you'll see these pyramids very differently. Let's start with the one that changed everything. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 BCE for the pharaoh Khufu. For 4,500 years we thought we knew what was inside. 3 known chambers, the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, and an unfinished subterranean room carved into the bedrock below. Then in 2017, a team of researchers from Japan and France used a technique called muon tomography. It works by tracking subatomic particles called muons. They rain down from the upper atmosphere and pass through solid stone. By measuring how many muons make it through different parts of the pyramid, you can detect empty spaces hidden inside. And what they found stopped everyone cold. Directly above the Grand Gallery, that massive soaring corridor that leads to the king's chamber, there's a second enormous space. At least 30 meters long, roughly the same size as the Grand Gallery itself. But here's what makes your skin crawl. There's no tunnel leading to it, no shaft, no doorway, no crack, nothing. Which means either the builders sealed it off deliberately when they finished the pyramid, and it's been untouched for 4,500 years, or it was never meant to be accessed at all. Some researchers think it's a structural feature, a relieving chamber that distributes the weight of the stone above the Grand Gallery. We know smaller versions of these exist above the king's chamber, but others aren't so sure. The void is far bigger than any known relieving chamber, and it's positioned in a way that doesn't match any known structural purpose. What's inside it? A treasure? A body? Nothing at all? We don't know, because no one has been inside, and this isn't fringe theory. This was published in the peer-reviewed journal Nature. It's real, it's verified, and it's just sitting there, sealed inside the most studied building on planet Earth. If the Great Pyramid's hidden void is architecture's greatest cold case, then the disappearance of Queen Nefertiti is history's greatest vanishing act. Nefertiti was not just a queen. During the 18th dynasty, around 1370 to 1330 BCE, she was arguably the most powerful woman in the ancient world. She ruled alongside her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten, and together they did something unprecedented. They overturned Egypt's entire religion. They scrapped the pantheon. No more Amun, no more Ra. Just one god, the Aten, the sun disk. It was the world's first attempt at monotheism, and Nefertiti was at the center of it. We know what she looked like. In 1912, German archaeologists found her bust in the workshop of the sculptor Thutmose at Amarna, and it's one of the most iconic artifacts in human history. The painted stucco face is so lifelike it looks like it could blink. But here's the thing. After Akhenaten's 12th year of rule, Nefertiti's name vanishes completely. No tomb, no mummy, no death inscription, no record of how she died or where she was buried. Did she die? Was she erased from history in a political purge after Akhenaten's religious revolution failed? Or, and this is the theory that has divided Egyptologists for decades, did she actually become pharaoh? Some scholars believe Nefertiti changed her name to Smenkhkare and ruled as pharaoh after her husband's death. The evidence is tantalizing. A few inscriptions, a tomb that seems prepared for a royal woman, but never finished, but nothing conclusive. And then there's the tomb hunt. Multiple expeditions have searched the Valley of the Kings for a hidden burial chamber, including high-profile scans of Tutankhamun's tomb in 2015 that seemed to show empty spaces behind the walls. Follow-up radar scans were inconclusive. The chamber, if it exists, hasn't been found. Nefertiti walked the earth as one of the most powerful women who ever lived, and then she simply disappeared. Nefertiti's stepson is arguably the most famous Egyptian who ever lived, but not because of what he accomplished. King Tutankhamun took the throne at 9 years old and died at 19. His reign was short, his power limited, and his tomb was small by pharaonic standards. He should have been a footnote. But in 1922, Howard Carter found his tomb nearly intact, the only royal tomb from the Valley of the Kings that survived the millennia with its treasures unlooted. Gold, jewels, chariots, the iconic death mask with its lapis lazuli and turquoise inlay. Tut became the face of ancient Egypt overnight. But the question that has haunted Egyptologists for a century is simple. How did a 19-year-old king die? Early examinations of his mummy found a fractured skull and a broken knee. For years, theories ranged from a hunting accident to murder, perhaps a political rival, perhaps his own court. More recent CT scans and DNA analysis have complicated the picture. Tut had malaria, multiple strains in fact. He had a cleft palate, a clubfoot. Evidence suggests he could barely walk without assistance, but the skull fracture and the broken leg, were those the result of an accident, a fall from a chariot, or foul play? And here's a detail most people miss. The middle coffin in Tut's tomb, the one his body actually rested in, doesn't match the other two. The face is different. The name was changed. Most Egyptologists believe it was originally made for someone else, possibly Nefertiti herself. So, in death, Tut may have been buried in a queen's coffin. A boy king, broken in body, wrapped in another royal's gold and sealed underground for 33 centuries, and we still don't know what killed him. Now we leave the Valley of the Kings and return to Giza, because the pyramids might not be the most extraordinary thing on that plateau. In the 5th century BCE, the Greek historian Herodotus visited Egypt. He saw the pyramids, and he wrote about something else. Something he said was more impressive than the pyramids themselves, a labyrinth. He described a colossal building with 3,000 rooms, half above ground, half below. 12 covered courts, passages so winding that he needed a guide to navigate them. He wrote that the roof was made from a single, massive stone, and he said it surpassed the pyramids. For centuries, scholars dismissed Herodotus as a storyteller, exaggerating, embellishing. The labyrinth was myth, not history. Then in 2008, a team used ground-penetrating radar on the Giza Plateau, and they found something, a buried stone foundation, 300 meters across, right where the ancient accounts said the labyrinth should be. The structure sits under meters of compacted sand. It hasn't been excavated. No one has gone down to look. Is it Herodotus's labyrinth? A temple complex? Something else entirely? The radar says something massive is down there. History says it was extraordinary, and the sand is still covering it. And then there's the Sphinx. The Great Sphinx of Giza is 240 feet long and 66 feet high, carved from a single piece of limestone bedrock. It's the largest monolithic statue in the world. Conventional Egyptology says it was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra, around 2500 BCE, the same era as the second pyramid at Giza. The face, many believe, represents Khafra himself. But there's a problem. The Sphinx shows signs of water erosion. Not wind erosion, not sand erosion, water erosion. Deep vertical channels carved by prolonged rainfall. The last time the Giza Plateau experienced significant sustained rainfall was the end of the last ice age, roughly 7000 BCE or earlier. The climate shifted after that, and the region turned to desert. If the erosion on the Sphinx is from rainfall, then the Sphinx is at least 9,000 years old, maybe older. That would mean it was built by a civilization that predates the pharaohs by thousands of years, a culture we know almost nothing about. Now, to be clear, this theory is hotly contested. Mainstream Egyptologists reject it, arguing the erosion could have other causes or that the dating methods are unreliable. The debate has raged for decades and there's no consensus. But the possibility alone is staggering. The Sphinx might be watching over a history older than Egypt itself, and its silent face has been keeping the secret for 9,000 years, or 4.5. We simply don't know. Here's what connects all 5 of these mysteries. A hidden void sealed inside the most studied building on Earth, and we still can't reach it. A queen who helped reshape religion and then vanished from every record. A boy king who died too young in a borrowed coffin from causes we still debate. A labyrinth that a Greek historian saw with his own eyes, and that radar confirms might still be under the sand. And a monument whose erosion might push the timeline of civilization back by millennia. The ancient Egyptians built with stone because they wanted to last forever, and in a sense they succeeded. Their monuments are still here, their art is still breathtaking, their engineering still defies explanation, but the one thing they couldn't preserve, the one thing the stone couldn't hold, was their story. The voids stay sealed, the names disappear, the tombs stay empty, and the Sphinx keeps its silence. Maybe that's the real greatest mystery of ancient Egypt. Not that we don't have the answers, but that we might never stop finding new questions. If this video gave you chills, you're not alone. Drop a comment with the mystery that blows your mind the most. And if you want to go deeper into ancient Egypt's secrets, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.